So I'm sitting here and I'm behind, obviously. I feel like when I do get on YouTube to watch videos, um, I'm always a day or two behind on everybody or longer. And I just watched Jill Jared and Ellie's video when she had gone to get her results. And I cried because I feel like I've been there, and I have. When it was about a year after Mom had passed away, I was starting to feel crazy. I'd replay something that would happen that day, 10 years prior, 10 days prior. It didn't matter. I still fight with that. But I would, I was driving through the Walmart parking lot and this woman almost hit me. And it would have been in the gas tank. And then my head told me, well, it would have blown up. So I had this play through my head. I do not remember driving home. I remember, obviously, but you know how you're like, oh, there's that pretty little house, or there's, cows there. I don't remember any of it. I remember it leaving Walmart, almost getting hit, and then getting home. The entire time I was consumed with what ifs. What if my kids were with me? What if this? What if that? Insane worry. And then I started to drive myself nuts. The pain started to get worse. And I was in a pretty bad car accident in '09. Yeah, it was. And I just chalked the pain up to that. And then, so we are now in 2011, and it's maybe a little over a year. So it was mid-October, and almost on the anniversary of my last car accident. And so I was like, I gotta get help. I'm driving myself nuts. I'm more irritable. I'm tired all the time. All I want to do is sleep. And of course, I got you're depressed. I said, it's got to be more than that. And so he ran a couple foofy tests, I think, to make me happy. Put me on Wellbutrin, because I was very adamant, non-addicting, almost said the same thing, but in a different version, non-habit forming, non-stimulating. I didn't want to feel like, to make myself feel better, I had to fly high. And then he put me on Flexerol, which turns out I'm allergic to. I had this nasty rash on my body. And he said, because I went back just a couple weeks later, my dose on the Wellbutrin seemed to be okay. I would get fluttering in my chest when I took it for the first hour. And then that's when the fight or flight feeling would start to set in. And then all of a sudden I was having anxiety. I've had it, don't get me wrong, but it was in high school, and I don't know if I'm the only one. I'd love to hear, from others. Walking into a classroom was hard for me. I in my head was telling myself, oh my God, they're going to look at you. But I didn't live with that. I've had a couple of doctors convince me that I've had anxiety my whole entire life. That's the weird thing is when I dropped out of high school, I went to independent studies, finished the year prior to everybody graduating, the whole nine. I flourished. I would do a math book in a week kind of situation because I'd get bored. Yes, I was working at the same time. The child labor laws weren't as strict as they were because in junior high I had to go to work. So I didn't have to. I chose to because I wanted money. I wanted to make the money to get the clothes I wanted, not what my parents wanted, kind of situation. Those were mistakes because I'm pretty sure I dressed like a hoochie mama. Not too bad, no. But mind you, these are the 90s, so the giant, huge pants, and for a big girl, those pants made you look fatter, and then like a half top. But I wore that, and I wore it with confidence, so that's why. And it's sad that watching her video made me start thinking, oh my God, I haven't always had anxiety. I did not always live like this. I would wear that little short, cute button-up top with overalls. I wasn't trying to hide my stomach. I wasn't trying to hide that I was fat. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the word fat. I'm fat. I'm fat. I don't know what else to say to that. I own it. I'm a big girl. I'm a beautiful big girl. I've got confidence. And sometimes I don't. But I think that's with everyone. I don't care if you're fat, you're thin. It doesn't matter. But, you know, I took the depression medication, and so I had my hysterectomy in 2011. And, sorry, there's something on my camera. I ended up so sick. Tunneling wound, cellulitis, staph infection, the whole nine, bladder infection on top of it, all from my hysterectomy. My body was revolting, and I'm wondering if it's because of the Wellbutrin. I stopped taking it. Cold turkey. Yes, I know that's stupid. I do not condone that. Talk to your doctor. And so I was taking, and I went to see, who did I go see? So I had to go into the ER. They had to cut away dead skin from my incisions. The ones on my left started to die off. The right ones did fine. But if you guys have been following us, my infections are only on the left side of my body, which is odd to only have it on half your body, let alone I'm left-handed. Anyway, and so the way the doctor wrote the prescription, or the way Rite Aid chose to fill my prescription, I was taking 14 antibiotics a day. So I didn't want to take 2 more. This is a time where I got with a loser with a drug addiction. And I will be the first to admit, I'm an idiot. I didn't know he was doing drugs when we were together. I knew he was stealing my drugs. So that's when my aversion to medication came in. I didn't want to take it. I didn't want to have to take that pain meds. I had to hide my medication in a new spot every time I took it. And I'll give him, he's a bloodhound. He always found it. I sat there one day counting my pills repeatedly, and I got, you took a pill, you're too high to count them. And I just cried because I know how to count. Yes, hydros really mess with me. I can take half of a half, so a quarter, I don't know why I couldn't just say a quarter, of a 5. And I'm like, I'm gone. And it's the only way I can take one without vomiting. Because they do, even with anti-nausea medication, come up. So I didn't want to take the Wellbutrin, so I didn't. So I took the antibiotics because I was not dying. And my mom had a tunneling wound. I know what it can do. And so we're not doing this. I have 3 kids. And I've got a lot to live for. But I was tired. And there were days where I'm like, I just want to give up. Not die, but I just want to lay in bed and become a puddle of goo. And I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to clean. And I could easily sleep till noon and then go right back to bed at 8 o'clock at night. I didn't want to get my kids up for school. I didn't want to do a lot of things. And my kids are my world. Even though Anthony and I had a bad marriage, our kids were everything. We loved them unconditionally, pain in the butt, still loved them. To this day, we still love them. Don't like their mouths, but that's to be expected. I had 2 teenagers and one 11-year-old thinking he's 30. And a 13-year-old who thinks he's 80. He has yelled out my front door, "Get off my lawn." And a 15-year-old going on 20. So this is unusual. I don't want to do anything with my kids. Then I didn't want my kids touching me. Which was an odd thing for me. Connor's my cuddle buddy. He loves laying with mommy at this point, and Xander's the same way because he's my baby. And Lex and I's relationship went to shit, and I didn't want Connor touching my arm or kissing me or none of them. I wanted them to leave me alone, and at points I didn't want them to talk to me. This is not me. This isn't how I want to mother. And I just kept telling myself and kept being told, it's because you're depressed. Your mother died, blah, blah, blah. And I think for doctors, it was an easy out. It was less expensive. It was easier than running tests. Though I have had a pretty good doctor, in some aspects, I haven't. If I want, I pretty much get, if I walk in there and I'm like, I want to see an endocrinologist, he said, okay, wait for the referral to go in, or to come through, and then they'll call you. Never had a problem. So, I have, over the time, thought about getting back on Wellbutrin. So at this point, we're 6 months, let's see, October 2010 I got on Wellbutrin. February or something, and 11 I had my hysterectomy. I got off of Wellbutrin, but then I felt better, which is odd. I had more energy and I wanted to do more, and then I changed doctors because I got tired of hearing it's because you're fat, it's because you're lazy, it's because you don't do anything. I wore a step counter, and as you have seen in some of the videos, I have what looks to be a watch. It's a combination of the two. My phone. I easily have a minimum of 6,000 steps every day. I'm not lazy. I don't, as I sit here on my butt, I don't live a sedentary lifestyle. No, I can't lose weight. No, I'm not gaining it either. And that's the weird thing is I've even been on diet pills that give you, don't ever fart, because yeah, anything you want out of your body in a fart, it's not poop, but it's greasy. It gives you low tire pressure. You have these diet pills have the worst side effects. And so whatever. I didn't lose anything. I watched my calorie intake. I don't eat that much. I don't even make it to 1,200 calories a day. And then and this is why I left, my doctor said I needed to eat 24. There's no way I'm getting there. Period. And when I told him, and I kept a food journal, because my mom went through these classes, I took her quite often, so I knew, and he said there's no way, and called me a liar, and I was done. So I switched to my now doctor, and he put me on different diet pills, and he does a lot for me. I did ask to go to the endocrinologist with him, and I have Hashimoto's, and it's not wonderful, but I love having, not the wherewithal, because I don't think that doesn't sound right. I love having the answer. When I got sick this last time, and it was 7 years ago with the stuff in my face, I needed answers. And that's the one thing is I have been convinced by 1, 2, 3, 4 doctors. I'm just depressed. And I'm not. I'm a happy person. I get tired. Everybody gets tired. Then I started keeping crackhead hours. I would go to bed at 4 and get up at 7 like it was nothing, like I slept 8 hours. And then I'd have days where I'd sleep 12 and I couldn't function still. And I could have slept some more. I don't have that one very often, but now it's starting to worry me because I'm starting to sleep a little more, or stay up later. And like a couple weeks ago, I was going to bed at 9:30. I was getting up at 7:30. If I was sleeping in, it was 8, which is still a lot of hours. And oh my God, if you do the math, I am almost sleeping 12 hours back then. Now it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm up by 8 o'clock. Reasonable, not exactly where I want to be. If I'd rather be going to bed at 10, 11 even, and then getting up at 7. So, now I have the hiccups. And if it wasn't for my doctor, he did the test. He ran a test on my thyroid, but within 6 months, my thyroid went from functioning to non-functioning, like barely on the scale of low. He said they don't usually medicate for this, but we can. Well, I had some terrible side effects from my medication. It was levothyroxine, and it was a low dose. I think we started off at 50, and I'd get the shakes really bad. I could not take it in the morning because my legs were like noodles, jello, whatever, and I would shake, and it was causing panic attacks. And those were not fun. They're still not fun. But then I am now sitting at 150 micrograms. And for a while, we'd get it to kind of stabilize for 6 months, and then it would just go back up again. And it's been almost a year. I need to get my thyroid checked again. But I've noticed ever since, and I'm just noticing, like today while watching and commenting on her video, that when I got anxiety, I was within 3 months diagnosed with thyroid issues. And I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, those are going hand in hand. Because you don't go from not having anxiety, being confident, walking around and, you know, like nobody cares, to worrying about what everybody is saying about you, or having trouble with your kids touching you. That's not normal, unless you're just a weird parent, and I am not one of those parents. So, you know, thyroid, you know, we have to take more of a stand and quit just taking doctors at the first answer, because they're not always right. And I have learned that. Ellie has learned that. There are a lot of people. And, you know, I just cried with her because with the progesterone and the hormones, you know, being so off whack, causing miscarriages, when this could have been prevented by simple blood tests. So I encourage everyone, take a stand. Don't take what your doctor says as the end all be all. Ask questions. Walk in. You know, it's our bodies. It's our medical stuff. Like, we get to choose what we're on. We don't have to take the medication. And I'm sick of doctors making you feel like you have no other choice. If you don't take it, then you're a horrible person and you're going against medical advice. And then they use that against you. So, there's nothing wrong with Google. Just don't go off of one page. If a doctor wants to give you medication, read up on it. I don't think you should read up on, you know, like side effects, because that's where you tend to, you know, sometimes turn accidentally into a hypochondriac. And I've done it. Was it my thyroid medication? It was like swollen face and tingling, and it was in the middle, and it was a joke, but I was in the middle of my face being, you know, with the staph and stuff, and I was like, how would I know? That's what my face feels like. I mean, but, you know, all joking aside, it's okay to look up, and it's okay to find alternatives. I've had doctors basically badmouth me because I'd rather do it as natural as possible, and there is nothing wrong with that.